Ethan Cole was a man who didn't make mistakes. At 38, he was the CEO of Cole Dynamics, one of the most powerful investment firms in the country. His life was measured in minutes and millions. Every day began at 5 a.m. sharp, with a black coffee and an email list longer than most people's hopes and dreams. He had no wife, no children, no time, only targets. But that morning, when he stepped out of his Bentley and into the marble lobby of his company's headquarters, everything changed. The voice, soft, trembling, innocent, cut through the hum of chatter. "You forgot your lunch, Daddy." Ethan froze mid-step. His assistant, Claire, turned, confused. A few interns giggled nervously. And then, they all saw her. A little girl, no older than 6, stood holding a tiny pink lunchbox with both hands. Her eyes, a bright, hopeful hazel, stared straight at him, filled with love and certainty. She wore a yellow dress with a faded unicorn printed on the front. Her hair was tied messily with a blue ribbon. Ethan stared back, unable to move. I think you've made a mistake," he stammered, but the words came out weaker than intended. She blinked up at him, confused. "No, you forgot your lunch. Mommy said you'd need it for work." The lobby went silent. People began whispering. Ethan's chest tightened. Something about her voice, the fragile sincerity, disarmed him. For a moment, the CEO became just a man, standing before a mystery that made no sense yet felt strangely familiar. "Where's your mom?" he asked softly. The little girl looked around nervously. She was right there," she said, pointing toward the revolving doors. But when Ethan turned, there was no one. Just a blur of people, taxis, and wind. He crouched down to her level. "What's your name?" "Lila," she said, clutching the lunchbox tighter. "Mommy said to give this to you, because you forget a lot." That last part stung more than it should have. Within minutes, security and staff gathered around, trying to locate the girl's mother. No one knew where she came from. No car, no guardian, nothing on camera but a single blurry figure dropping her off and vanishing into the crowd. Ethan should have handed her over to the police and gone back to his meeting, the kind of meeting that decided futures. But something deep inside him refused to walk away. He knelt beside her again. "Okay, Lila," he said softly. "How about we find your mom together?" She smiled. A small, pure smile that felt like sunlight breaking through years of fog. And just like that, the unshakable CEO missed his first meeting in 5 years. They drove around the city, checking the spots the girl remembered. A park, a bakery, a small school near 7th Avenue. Nothing. But as the hours passed, something changed in Ethan. For the first time in years, he laughed. Lila told stories. About her imaginary friend named Button, about how her mom made heart-shaped sandwiches, about how Daddy always wore nice suits and forgot to eat. It should have been absurd. But somehow, it wasn't. Every word she said chipped away at his walls, the ones he had built after losing someone he never talked about anymore. By sunset, he didn't find her mother. But he did find something else, a feeling he thought he had buried with his past. As he dropped her off at the nearest child care office for the night, Lila hugged him tightly. "You're not bad, Daddy," she whispered. "You just look lonely." And for the first time in years, Ethan Cole didn't know how to bray. The next morning, Ethan arrived early, not for work, but for Lila. He had barely slept. Something about her face kept replaying in his mind. The way she smiled. The way she said, "Daddy," as if it was the most natural thing in the world. When he reached the child services office, she ran up to him instantly. "I knew you'd come," she said proudly, clutching the same pink lunchbox. He smiled, kneeling to meet her gaze. "Did they find your mom yet?" She shook her head. "But Mommy said you always come back." Ethan's heart twisted. That day turned into a week. He helped the police look for her mother, but the trail was thin. Meanwhile, he spent more and more time with Lila, reading stories, taking her to the park, teaching her to play chess in his office. People whispered in the company, their cold CEO suddenly smiling, talking softer, even eating lunch at his desk. He didn't care. The truth was, Lila had awakened something buried deep, a tenderness he'd lost when his fiancée, Anna, died 6 years ago in a car crash. She had been pregnant at the time. Ethan had thrown himself into work ever since, refusing to feel anything again. But Lila broke through that silence. One afternoon, while they were eating sandwiches together, he finally asked, "Lila, what's your mommy's name?" She smiled. "Anna." Ethan froze. The world spun. "What did you say?" "Anna," she repeated innocently. Mommy said you were her best friend once. And that she forgave you for not coming back. He felt his chest collapse. His vision blurred. Inside that small pink lunchbox, he found a photo he hadn't seen in years. Him and Anna, standing by the lake, smiling. On the back, written in her handwriting. For the man who forgot his heart but never stopped being kind. Tears filled his eyes. The next day, the authorities found out that Anna had been living quietly in a nearby town, sick for months before she passed, leaving Lila with a friend who was supposed to deliver her to Ethan if anything happened. The friend panicked, left Lila at the company instead. Now it all made sense. Lila wasn't just a stranger. She was his daughter. The daughter he never knew he had. That night, Ethan sat with her under the city lights, holding her tiny hand. I didn't forget my lunch, sweetheart, he whispered, voice breaking. I just forgot how to live. She smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. That's okay, Daddy. You remembered now. And in that moment, in the quiet hum of the city, in the glow of glass and hope, the man who had everything but love finally found the one thing he didn't know he was missing.